We are live. What's up, everybody? Oh, I'm a little nervous. I don't know why, even if there are like just less than 20 people watching. Okay, finally we're live. This is a show. This is a little podcast that I'm starting out called Pick Your Brains. My name is Joaquin Pedro Valdes. If you don't know me, or if you just happen to see an annoying video on your Facebook or YouTube feed, We are live. I'm an What's up, actor. Everybody? Oh, I'm an actor from the UK. Are live. Oh shoot! What's up, everybody? See, I'm learning this thing. Oh, I'm a little nervous. All right. Something's happening. All right, everything's happening at the same time. Okay, so I'm live on YouTube and on Facebook. I'm an actor currently in the UK. I'm a stage and musical theater actor, and for the past 2 years, I find myself in the UK touring professionally as an actor, and it's something I had only just dreamed of as a kid. I never thought that I would ever be able to do that. Musical theater actor from the Philippines, traveling across the world and performing with such amazing talent and just being part of amazing productions. And in my journeys, I find that I get to meet people who I really get inspired by and really learn from. And because the standard and the quality and the talent out here is immense. It's everything I had dreamed of and more. And because I didn't have the opportunity to go to proper training or drama school or I didn't have any of that facility. I felt that the best way to really learn is on the job and from people that you look up to. And Pick Your Brains or Pick Your Brain is an opportunity for me to ask the questions that I feel I would usually be embarrassed to ask, or I feel these are the stupid questions or the things that a beginner or a noob or a layman would never understand, to people whom I trust and who won't judge me and who are willing to share bits and pieces of their experiences to help a guy out. And this first pilot episode is so special to me because I have two absolute gentlemen sharing their lives and their experiences with me. And I get to ask them all the questions that I want to ask them. And one of them I've had the opportunity to work with for a year as we toured Miss Saigon around the UK and some parts of Europe. And he's an absolute badass on stage. I first watched him in the show and just was blown away just by his voice, his presence, just his stature. And it turns out he's an amazing guy, even backstage. So I get to introduce him to you guys as well. And with him, his partner in his new business is a guy that was also with the show with Miss Saigon, but he was in the year prior to me. And I didn't get to work with him, but I've been fanboying from afar. Beautiful voice. He was cover Chris for the show. And I just watched this. You can Google him. You can go on YouTube and see just how amazing this guy is as a singer, as an actor. And both of them have been on top of their game for the past how many years, until COVID happened, where it stopped all of us and the whole world on its tracks. So I get to pick their brain and I get to ask them all the questions that I want to ask them about drama school, about breaking into the business. And you guys get to ask your questions as well once we go live. So without further ado, I'm going to stop talking now. That's a very long intro. I'm going to be asking these two gentlemen to join me. Please let us welcome. I should have like a canned applause somewhere here. Please let us welcome Ryan O'Gorman and Tom Hier. What's up, boys?
Hey.
Oh, there you go. Oh, nice. That turned out pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's up? How are you guys doing?
Yeah, man. I'm good. How are you, buddy? You good?
Yeah, I'm just learning all of this. Things are happening at the same time, and it's very techie. And I thought I was a techie, but then you have opportunities like this to learn new platforms, which is great, right? So, what have you guys been doing throughout this whole lockdown? I mean, we're approaching the end of the lockdown, but then I'm sure, like, I've been trying to learn this for the past 15 weeks, right, before launching it. What have you guys been keeping busy with?
I'll be honest, the first few weeks were purely just based on Netflix, Amazon, Disney Plus. I was like glued to my couch. I know you were as well, Tom, for the first few weeks.
Tom?
I think we've lost
Yeah,
Tom.
I mean,
Yeah.
can you hear me? I'm
Yeah, we
here.
can
Can
hear
you hear me?
Perfect.
I'm going to say the same as well. The first sort of few weeks were just adjusting to what we weren't expecting to happen, to be honest. We had to stay inside. We couldn't really do anything outside at all.
Yeah.
You have to think about, family members, friends who maybe fell on the vulnerable list. So it made like the easiest of things quite difficult. So, first of all, just transitioned into this way of life that's now become
That's the thing.
normal. So that's what we did for.
There's no real right or wrong way to handle this whole situation because it's all new, isn't it?
Totally. This is completely new ground for everybody. I think
Yeah.
we hear this word unprecedented. We've never heard that word so much, especially bandied about by our media and our politicians. But
Right.
I think there's no other kind of word for it. This situation that the whole world seems to be enveloped by at the minute is completely unprecedented. And yeah, we're just kind of all learning on the job.
Yeah, it's like we're finding our feet again. It's like,
exactly. But us as humans, we develop and we mold, and it's kind of surprising how quickly things become the new normal, like very, very quickly.
That's another term that
I
we're
totally
getting
agree.
used to, the new normal.
Yeah.
Tom, I think as well, there was a sense of after the first 2 or 3 weeks where we realized this was going to go on for quite a while.
Yeah.
I think, both Ryan and I, then we tried to be productive, tried to be positive in our own personal ways, never mind the whole business side of things. Just trying to be fit, trying to do some exercise, trying to eat well, trying to do something that was not Netflix all day, not watching TV or whatever, So that was like the sort of second stage, I think, for me. I don't know about Ryan, but that was for me. I tried to be better.
Right.
Yeah, I'd say the same. But I definitely had a solid 2 or 3 weeks on the couch,
definitely
in front of the telly, and then I was like, "Ooh,
yeah,
I'm not getting fat, but I'm definitely getting lazy." So then I had to kind of
definitely. And I was like, I don't know what to do now that I can't go to the gym because my gym is in Central, and I have to take the tube like an hour away to get to the gym, and I'm like, no, I can't go to the gym. What do I do? So I'm like starting Googling all of these body weight calisthenics things, and just trying to get myself, stay fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And the gym's a huge part of your life as well, and it's a big part of mine as well. So I think, yeah, you go, man. You go.
A little trivia. Ryan and I, and our exchange in WhatsApp, it's only usually about amazing vocals that we see online, or like Eddie Hall, strongman, powerlifting stuff, and it's amazing.
That is it. Our media consists of like people lifting weights and people singing or riffing. That's it.
That's it.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Okay, so were you guys in the middle of contracts before COVID hit, or what was happening? What were you guys doing right before this whole thing happened?
I wasn't. I've actually just moved.
I was actually go on, Ryan.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I've actually moved to a new city. I've actually moved out of London. I moved from where I'm from originally. I'm from the northeast. I moved to London maybe 12 years ago, 13 years ago, to go to drama school, and I've lived there ever since. And I've actually just moved like 200 odd miles northwest. I now live in Liverpool. So I'm just I was readjusting to my new place. I bought my first property. So I moved here with my girlfriend.
Nice.
So that's kind of what I was doing. And for the first time in 10 years, I didn't have a job. So luckily, I don't know whether it's luckily really, but yeah, I wasn't the unfortunate people to kind of lose a job at the time. I was in between jobs at the time.
That's me. I lost a job.
I know you did, brother. I know you did.
Right. Tom?
I mean, I'm pretty much the same, to be honest. I wasn't in a contract. I'd finished the contract in January. And I was, again, auditioning for the next few things. I was in the process of some really exciting things that was going to be really good. But obviously, they were postponed. All of those processes were just sort of halted and postponed for foreseeable. They said next year, but who knows whether they're going to come back at all. But I'm with Ryan there. I think, for yourself, you were in a contract. I think that's probably the worst case scenario. The only people above you, possibly people who were in maybe their third year of college have worked, 4, 5, 6 years towards getting to their peak condition, graduating, trying to get an agent, trying to get a job, and then the whole thing just falls from underneath them. That must be terrible. I can't imagine what that would be like, starting your first job or trying to get into the industry.
I was actually telling Ryan because I was completely blessed because I was going to transition from an existing job, a touring job, into my first West End debut for a massive show, and it was really big for me until everything came crashing down. So, but there's that point where you decide: do I just wallow and sit and get depressed, or do I try and stay on top of my game throughout this whole thing and stay creative, stay inspired, right? And that's why we're here.
Yeah, we are. That's exactly why we're here.
All right. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to the start of your story because I know you guys. When I met you, you guys were already at the top of your game. Let's go back to before. You're from Wales, aren't you, Tom?
I am. I'm from a little town called Merthyr Tydfil, which is in the Valdes, about half an hour north of Cardiff. It's a beautiful area, but it's not a great area. There's a lot of poverty, lower social class sort of background. Used to be an old mining town. So that's where I'm from. And I always did a bit of singing. I was very fortunate that I had some very influential teachers in school, just normal primary school or nursery teacher, who just encouraged everyone to get up and give it their best shot.
Right.
And that's really what unlocked it for me. I think for my parents as well and my brother, they just sort of went, oh, they can actually do this a little bit. They can actually sing in tune, and they feel at ease doing it. So that's how it started for me. And then I was lucky. I just did some Amdram and local things. And it sort of spiraled from there. I always did lots of sport. I played football to semi-professional level, academy level. I quite liked academics in school. I was thinking about being a doctor at once. I was thinking about studying geography at once. And I actually pursued the geography route. I was going to go to York University to study geography. I went to look at my accommodation. That's what my route was. And in that time, someone or more than 2 or 3 people said to me, are you sure you don't want to audition for drama school? And I said, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. I don't want to do that. I want to do a proper career. I want to do something academic. I want to blah, blah, blah.
A proper career.
But, well, yeah, maybe I'd be better off now. But I then just decided to jump ship. And I decided to audition, and very fortunately got in first time to, at the time, my dream school, Guildford School of Acting was the one that I knew about. I didn't have much knowledge, and we'll get into this later, I'm sure, but I didn't have much knowledge about the steps or how to get there. Yeah. I just knew that there was some really great schools, and Guildford was at the top of my list. So long story short, I've always done a bit of singing, but I was really fortunate to get to where I am now.
Ryan, where's home for you? And I mean, you look like you could play in the rugby league, or and you're like, if I didn't know you, you'd be the last person I'd think would be into musical theater.
Yeah, I get that a lot. Funnily, I get that a lot. And what you said, Tom, so many people, even in my life, still say now, and they say it jokingly, when are you getting a proper job? We must have all heard that a million times, right?
I still hear it.
Yeah, it's crazy. So little Ryan was born in the northeast of England in a place called Stockton-on-Tees. It's kind of a few hundred miles north of Manchester, just below Newcastle.
Right.
And when I was younger, I'll be honest, it wasn't about singing, wasn't about dancing, definitely wasn't about acting. I got into this quite late. I thought I was going to be a rugby player. I honestly did. I played rugby to a really high level. And then when I was around 14 years old, my brother's 2 years older than me, and he'd already made the decision quite early on that he wanted to join the Royal Marines. And my brother, as a lot of younger brothers that have older siblings, you kind of look up to them. And I was like, I think that's what I want to do as well. I'm going to follow my brother. And then when my brother eventually got in the Marines, I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. When I was going through school, we did drama, and I kind of enjoyed it, but it wasn't the coolest thing to do at my school. It wasn't. I was captain of the rugby team, captain of the football team. Drama was not a cool thing to do. So I was doing it on the side and I secretly loved it.
You're like the real life High School Musical, like the jock in school and then wanting to do drama.
I'm like the bald Troy Bolton.
Troy Bolton.
So I did that, and my drama teacher was really pushing me at the time. She was saying, like, look, you're really good at this. I think you should try and pursue it. So by the time I got to 16, between her and a few other people, they'd kind of persuaded me that I should go to college and do this. And I know that seems like quite a big turnaround for what I was saying, but I was still playing for an academy in rugby. I was still playing for numerous other teams, and I was playing football as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, to cut a long story short, I basically went to this college. I went to Stockton Riverside College and had 2 of the best years of my life ever. And that's when I first got hooked. I was like, ooh, I think I could do this. I think I want to do this. I at least want to give it a go. I was nearly at the end of my 2 years, and my brother was like, right, you've had your fun. You've had the parties. You've had a good time. Now you need to leave that, and you need to come with me, and you need to join the Marines. And it was my mother, she said, look, I know, sorry, I'm just looking at my friend coming in. That's my best friend. He's in Australia.
Definitely. Ryan O'Gorman over Troy Bolton.
And yeah, my mum was just like, look, I know how much you enjoy this. I want you to audition for stage schools. So I ended up auditioning for Mount View Academy and Arts Educational Schools, London. And yeah, long story short, I ended up going to Arts Ed and
Guildford, Mount View, Arts Ed. These are big, really, really known schools for musical theater. But let's just do a little bit of a rewind. What was the first show, or who was the one that really nudged you in your personal life that said, do it, we're going to encourage you? Because to be honest, like back where I'm from, going to the arts is not exactly something that's highly encouraged, because just only because people who care about know that there's not much of an industry, or it isn't a proper job. But like, who was the one that actually, or what was the moment where you watched a show or got told that this is something you can really pursue?
I think for me, one of the first, sorry, Tom, one of the first, I remember, I think I was 14, and we went to watch The Lion King. And I daren't watch it again because I loved it so much. I have this magical memory in my head, and I just remember seeing all the puppets and the music, and I was just like, whoa. And I literally I haven't watched it again. I've had friends in it, and I still haven't watched that show again to date, because I don't want to ruin that memory. Not that it's going to be bad, but I've just got this beautiful image in my head. That would be the first time that I remember watching a show going, wow.
Yeah.
I think the person that kind of turned the cog and said, why don't you do this as a career, would be my mum.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Tom?
Wow. I mean, for me, the wow moment, I think, was in 2 little phrases, or 2 different versions. I saw some shows in London. I saw some shows around the country when I was younger. And I just remember thinking, I am blown away that they do that, not just this time. They do it later, or they do it 8 shows a week. I was literally blown away. I couldn't get over that they replicate that. 8 shows a week for a year. I just couldn't get my head around it. And I had those moments. And when I was doing Amdram and stuff, I never really thought, I want to do this as a career. I never thought that. But then really strangely, the Wales Millennium Centre open in Cardiff, which you both have been to, I'm obviously biased because it's in Cardiff, but it's literally, to me, the best theatre in the world. It feels like home there. I did some things when I was a kid there. And the first professional show that went there was Miss Saigon. So I saw the national tour of Miss Saigon there. I think that was with Ramin Karimloo as Chris. I cannot remember. I was so young. I must have been about 12. And obviously Saigon, as we all know, is like a huge production show, loads of effects, probably the biggest ever, probably. And at that moment, I remember seeing Chris sit on the stairs singing "Why God Why," a song which I knew already, but just remember thinking like the helicopter going over. I just remember thinking like, wow, like that is cool. That's his job.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, no. I'm saying I think that was the tour with Joanna Ampil.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. There's just a little bit of a delay.
I'll carry on. I think you can hear me.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that moment, and that moment was the moment where I knew, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. And then the person.
There's a little bit of delay.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, go on.
I'll tell you about the person. I don't know if you can hear me, but the person for me was one of the most influential people in my creative life, a guy called Tim Rhys-Evans. He was the artistic director of a choir in Wales called Only Boys Allowed, also Only Men Allowed, quite a famous Welsh choir in Wales. I'm a member of Only Men Allowed still. But Tim, I was in the choir, Only Boys Allowed. We appeared on Britain's Got Talent. And that is all about getting boys to sing. So they understand that it's not cool to be singing. They're trying to address the stigma of that in Wales and across the nation, actually. And I was in that. I was about 16, 17 when I was applying to go to York University. And actually, Tim gave me a lift in the car to, I think it was a school trip or something. And he gave me a lift in the car. It's the only time I had with him one-to-one. And he said to me, look, Tom, I'm going to be really honest. I really think you should apply to drama school. I think this is me telling you, I know you can do this, and I think you should do it. And that was the turning point for me, because at that point, I went home, spoke to my parents, and we did it. And my parents helped me through it, and that's where I am. That was the turning point.
That's amazing. That really blows my mind that there's no, like, instantly family and your parents are like, okay, drama school, is that what you want? Let's go. Let's do it. Because it's... And you have so much options out here. Arts Ed, Mount View, Guildford, and there's loads. I'm actually in the process of auditioning for a drama school, and I'll tell you guys that later on.
What? I didn't know this.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. I'll tell you, I'm actually in the final round, which is great. But then I don't know if I can afford it. But then, you know, that's just real talk. Whoa. Anyway, let's talk about drama school. How essential is it in the business? Is it going to help you get booked, or are you going to get broke? I mean, there's so many, like, you can read so many articles online about the benefits or the, you know, that it's unnecessary, or so many people, the fallout from every year of people who graduate from drama school. So what are your opinions on this?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think, you know, there's millions and millions of people in this country. And as you say, we've got hundreds, if not thousands of schools and academies that kind of offer training to like further education within the arts. So like 16 and above. Most drama schools start at 18 and above. And as you say, you've just named three there. There's literally hundreds.
Yep.
I don't have any actual stats on this, but I would say it'd be somewhere in the high 90% of people who are kind of at least working kind of in the West End on number 1, 2 and stuff like that, have, especially over the last 15 years, have been to drama school. I would kind of confidently say that. You know, I know lots of people that, you know, they've either been in a reality TV show and have then kind of got their break through that and are now being super successful, especially within musical theatre. I know people like yourself that have just kind of found a voice, kind of honed their craft somewhere else, and then just broke into the business through pure hard work and persistence. So there is that other kind of pool of people. So it's not just saying if you don't go to drama school, you absolutely have no chance. That is definitely not what I'm saying. But obviously the drama school would be the more conventional route. That's what I would say. And it provides you with such a great platform to kind of learn and kind of harness and grow your skills across the board, especially if you do musical theatre, across the three main disciplines of singing, dancing and acting, that would be very, very difficult to kind of do outside of that. To learn that kind of body of work, what I learned in my 3 years at Arts Ed, for me to do that on my own, for me personally, I think it would have been unachievable, for me personally.
Right. Actually, on my first year,
I think the also thing to add there. Go on.
on my first year of Miss Saigon, because I'm like, again, not trained in formal drama school, and there was a bunch of us that weren't, right? Because we were flown in. I was literally like a deer in headlights, just watching everybody, and everybody knew the terms, everybody knew the warm-ups, everybody knew the vocal warm-ups and the dance warm-ups, everybody knew the lingo, and it was so daunting. It was really quite overwhelming. And you know, like you really felt like a fish out of water. Even if I've done this for like 20 years back where I'm from, you really felt like, oh my God, I don't know my shit. I don't know anything. Why am I here?
Yeah.
You know, this imposter mentality to it, because it's just gorgeous how the skills.
And I think as well.
Go ahead, Tom.
There's a sense of like, there's no way I'd be able to, or any of us would be able to learn that, as Ryan said, and as you've just said, at home, especially due to like geographics. Maybe if you lived in London, it'd be slightly easier because you could maybe, you know, pop to a class in Pineapple or go to a class in Central London. But you know, where if you're not in London or from any other country, like you can't access that. So yeah.
So what are like the misconceptions? What are the myths that you've heard about drama school that turned out to be untrue when you were in drama school?
Go on, Tom. I'll let you go first, bro.
Okay, so I think the first thing is that I had this misconception that if I went here for 3 years, let's say school A or school BC, if I went here, I would be ready for the industry 100%. And I wouldn't need to, I just need to get into this place and follow the model, and I would, you know, be successful. That's the sort of misconception that I had. And, you know, to a certain extent, part of that is true. You know, I feel like you have to receive some sort of training to be able to even get a glimpse of being able to work. However, the misconception is that in order to actually work and get opportunities, you have to do so much more, and nobody's going to do that for you. You have to do it yourself. And that is, you know, just being yourself, being, you know, networking with friends or watching things, or actually, you know, for me personally, I'm not a dancer. I was never a dancer. I was a boy who played football. I had the wrong body for dancing completely. It didn't have the flexibility or any of the knowledge whatsoever. But I knew if I wanted to work in this industry, I had to be able to be passable from a dance perspective. So I spent hours outside of class time at GSA working on my double pirouettes or whatever it is. I spent hours, man, hours off my own back. I remember being in my dormitory room, like just before bed, like doing some stretches that, you know, like, because I was so driven that I knew that's what I needed to do, and no one was gonna give me that extra time, or I couldn't pay for that. I had to just do it. So my misconception is that I thought that once I got into a school like Guildford, I'd be set. And actually it's about 50%. You know, the rest of it is up to you. And I think that for me is the main misconception. Go right.
I just can't wait till the end of this, till Tom shows us his perfect pirouettes.
Double pirouettes. I want to see Tom do a double pirouette.
Sadly, the lag is so bad you can't quite catch it.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I'd say one of the misconceptions is, this one is kind of not from my point of view, it's more from kind of people outside the industry, and they kind of just see, especially people that maybe aren't as into theatre as other people, they just think, oh, you just go throw on some costumes and kind of just twirl about, and you just, you know, just run around like pretending to be trees or fairies. And I know about both of your pasts, and I know the hard work both of you personally have put in. And being at drama school, I've never ever worked as hard before or since. Like the amount of work you're asked to do is crazy. I've never been as fit. I will never be as fit. You know, you're doing 2-3 dance classes a day, every day. You were in at 8:45, which meant we were actually in probably at 8 o'clock to practice your routines for that day. Let's say if your day stopped at 6 o'clock, you were actually getting out at like 8:30 because you would practice after class.
Yeah.
And the kind of misconception that you just go and it's a big jolly and you put on loads of costumes and dance around is like, that is false. That is really false. Like, you work super hard, and if you don't, honestly, I mean, I can only speak for my school. You were literally out the door. Like, people got kicked out for multiple reasons.
Right.
If you were late by 1 second, if you were 1 second past that, they would literally close the turnstile and send you home.
Right.
And that might seem a little harsh, but some of the things I thought were quite harsh at college. But now that I'm in the industry, I'm never late, ever. Yeah. I'm never, ever late. That's part of my personality. It's part of my DNA now. And they were getting me ready for that. I've never turned up late to an audition. I'm not late to rehearsals. And they were the kind of things that college was trying to, I suppose, inject into me. So it became part of my DNA, part of Ryan. Yeah, of course.
Discipline, right.
So I suppose to close that up, the common misconception that we just go and prance around and not do much, like jump off the steps like in Fame, is totally false. Like, you're really working hard at college.
Yeah, I'd love to see Ryan's Fame jump.
I need to see the Fame jump, and
do it at the end,
so that it's a frozen screen. I came out of The King and I, and there's a whole middle centerpiece in Act 2 with the ballet, and I've worked with these dancers, and I've never seen such athleticism and such strength and power in my life. And I've come from, I was an athlete. I was CrossFitting and playing a little bit of rugby as well back home, but then I've never seen such strength and stamina and endurance from anyone except these dancers, and it's amazing. Is there any change from what you see about training in drama school now? Because you guys teach a lot of students and young actors and people who want to break into the business. Was there any change from how drama school is taught now to when you guys were in drama school? Not to say that you guys are old, but
I don't know about the teaching, but one thing I'd say is a huge change is social media. Like, kids and kind of young students they just know so much because the people that they follow, the people that influence them, their heroes, their people they aspire to be like, obviously have one of these. Yeah, they have one of these, and they follow everything they do, because us as people in the 21st century now, we seem to put our lives online. Yeah, and I'd say that would be the, where I would go and I'd take a soundtrack out from the library, or I'd print my sheet music off. Right. Everything's just so easy now. Do you know what I mean? You can literally download it to your phone. You can, you don't have to go photocopy it out of a book in the library. I can literally just go bang, bang, send it to my printer, and it's there. So I'd say that would be a difference. What about you, Tom?
I think the main difference for me is that I can only comment from an outside perspective. Obviously, we're not inside like we were when we were training. But I think it's an ever-changing thing. It has to be evolving, it has to be different. The training that we received will be different to what they receive now, because the industry is different. The industry is constantly evolving. The requirements of what we need to be able to do to get a job, or even be in the mix to get a job, changes. Right. And it evolves. It can be a slow burner, or it can be really, really quickly. Like sometimes things can change. Sometimes you could be perfect for something, and then they change the requirements, and then you have to suddenly be able to, I don't know, for example, juggle 8 balls in the air, which Ryan can actually do. I definitely can't. But my point is that it can change, and you could be working towards something that could be your bread and butter 5 years ago.
I'm gonna ask something a little bit more specific. Like, does the training in drama school, is it catered or bespoke to what the trend is in terms of how the shows are casting, or what the shows are requiring now of the students? Because like if I went to dance,
I think it has to be.
Yeah, and they taught me like traditional musical theater jazz or contemporary jazz. But then right now it seems like all the shows on the West End want some sort of urban or, really modern dance. So do they, does that affect how schools are adjusting their curriculum? Or
I mean, I think they have to. At the end of the day, they are businesses, and their business model is to get people ready to work, just like a university would in geography or maths. You know, they have to prepare them for that industry. So if the industry is requiring loads of hip hop dancing, then we obviously schools need to implement more hip hop dance, which is obviously no good for me. But I think, you know, there is a general sense of like getting you ready on a general basis, giving you tools in voice, in dance, in movement, in acting, in singing technique, in drama technique, or working together on your own for TV, for camera. I think there's a general spectrum of what we need to be able to do, and any good drama school should prepare you for that. But then how they hone in on specific things, I think has to be tailored to what the industry is like and what they foresee it to be like when that year graduates. So there's a bit of a lag time. You know, they have to foresee that if shows are coming over, at the end of the day, they want their graduates to be in those shows. So there's no point concentrating on things that aren't quite current in the industry, because it's against their sort of business model, I guess, maybe.
like, for example, like Ryan, like singing technique, for example, did your technique change when you were in drama school versus to what it is now? Did it, because it's constantly changing, it's constantly evolving, new science is discovered, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know whether it's singing technique is, I think, has definitely evolved, and I think it definitely correlates to what kind of is in fashion. Do you know what I mean? Even if you look at like kind of musical theatre timelines, you know what I mean? We do have, you know, some pre-1960 shows that are kind of relevant and that are getting revived. But right now we've got to look at this type of shows that are around. Look at the Hamiltons, look at the Dear Evan Hansen. Do you know what I mean? So I think with that, I think that directly correlates to what people are getting taught, and to kind of the things that you also want to be taught. I know we can speak for our students as well. Like, people are coming to us and they're like, we want to sound like this. We want to do this. Yeah. And I think as singing teachers, as performance coaches, you kind of got to be able to adapt and move with that. By still obviously staying true to your own voice as well.
I think going on from that, if I can actually, is that I think it hammers home that there isn't a one size fits all here. I don't think in drama schools or teaching in general or coaching, because like something that works for me might not work for you guys, but it might be the same thing, and it might, and then vice versa. Something that a singing technique or exercise that really unlocks your potential, you know, or unlocks a part of your voice might be awful for me. I might not be able to do it, full stop. So I might have to find another way around. And any good school or tutor, coach, whatever it might be, like, I think has to be able to adapt. And I think, you know, some schools I do think have quite a general feel. So like everyone will receive similar. They'll try and just make everyone fit a model. And I don't believe that's a good way to go about it, because, you know, everyone's different and everyone needs different things.
Right. I remember when I finally got a vocal coach out here in the UK, and I thought I could sing, and that was my career back home. When I came out here, blew me out of the water, like totally changed not really changed, but really corrected my technique. I didn't know that I had a range that was possible. I didn't know I could sound like this, and it just really exponentially got me improving my skill or whatever facility I had. And I just, that little vocal coaching session, I didn't even go to drama school. I'm like, oh my God, what can I learn if I spent like at least 1 year or 2 years in drama school, right? Next question, after drama school. So what happens after? Auditions, how did you get your big break? Agents?
Right, I'll go first. After drama school, so normally in your third year, you have you kind of have 3 shows which are open to agents and the public. So you're kind of out there as a product. So people are you're out there selling yourself in your third year.
Right. This is the show.
And then you also have a designated showcase as well. But yeah, okay. Kind of all 3 of those shows are collectively a showcase in themselves for you. Within that year, you will then at some point, all different drama schools, it happens at different times, but you will hopefully get an agent. Agents will then say, look, I'm interested in you. And then you'll say, oh my God, somebody loves me. Thank the Lord, somebody loves me.
Do you remember the time that you got offered? Like how was it? Like what was the show when you got the call? What was it like?
So I think, what was our first show? I think we were the first drama school to do Cats. We were very, very fortunate. I was playing Old Deuteronomy. We had the late, brilliant, absolute genius Gillian Lynn came in, talked us through it. Her right-hand woman, Chrissy Cartwright, actually choreographed the show with us.
Amazing.
So super, super lucky. That was our first show. And yeah, after that, I got a number of agent offers, and honestly, the feeling is just pure relief. It's just relief, validation. I know that sounds really weird, but honestly, it's just pure relief. You're like, oh, it all wasn't for nothing. Yeah, just. So that was my first show, and then then the kind of process goes. You go, you put on your best shirt. You very nervously walk into an agent's office, which. I'm not a nervous person. I'm not, but I was nervous at the time. I really was. Yeah. And then you kind of you literally have like a business meeting where you put on your best face and you probably act for a little bit because you just, at that point in time, I just remember wanting this person to want me.
Right.
So, and it wasn't until I'd been to a few, and I probably went to around 12, I think. I met with about 12, that showed interest in me. So then you were just like, obviously you were just going to them. And it took me a few, and then I was just like, oh, and I kind of simmered down and I kind of calmed down. And then I started being myself a lot more. And then I realized that, and I say this with respect, but it is actually the actor that is kind of hiring that person. Like but you don't think about it like that. All you want is that agent to want you and love you. And you're just like, I hope they want me. When it is a two-way street, you have to want them as well. And it is a business relationship that you've got to work at. But at the time, 21 years old, possibly younger, you don't see it like that. You're just like...
it's like another audition, like you're auditioning for these agents.
Exactly.
And, I never really figured out what to say at that point in the meeting when they say, okay, do you have any questions for us? And I'm always like, I never know what to say.
I know.
It's funny. Tom, what was your story? What was your agent story?
Honestly, everything that I would have said there, Ryan said in the right order and in the right way.
Even with cats?
Totally. Well, not with cats, no. I'll tell you about my sort of journey. It was very similar sort of you work towards third year, you start doing shows in smaller casts that agents are invited to come and see what that college has to offer this year, right? So there's a huge thing at stake. That's what we're all working towards. That's sort of why you go to drama school, is to try and get yourself an agent and to as a stepping stone to get you into the industry. I did a show called Lift. It was by a writer called Craig Adams. We were the second people to do that show. First time, I think it was in Soho Theatre, something like that. So it was almost like an original work. Craig came in, we stripped it back, we changed loads of things. It was like creating a new show, and I played the lead part in that. I played the busker, I had to play the guitar, I had to really learn the guitar, some really difficult things on there that I was incredibly nervous about. But it pushed me, and I really felt like I had a really creative process in that. So when I got to the point where agents were coming to see it, I felt like I was just going out there to play. I felt like I was play the guitar, but also play, as in like have fun, you know? And partly that was to do with the character, and I could connect with that character pretty well. And yeah, that feeling the day after that first show, when you just get emails coming through or voicemails, some of them, as you said, it's relief. It is relief because, oh gosh, like, can you imagine if you didn't get any, and then you've got to go out another 2 or 3 days and do another few shows, and your friends are getting calls, and you're like, oh, it's the worst thing in the world. It's horrible, but it prepares you for what the industry is like, because that's what it's like. So yes, relief. And then from there, putting on your big boy shirt on to feel like you're all businessman going to these meetings that I look back now and think, I wish I, was more, I don't know what I could have done differently, really. I just think you're ahead of your time, you're not expecting to be in those situations because you've spent 3 years trying to work towards something where you have to prove yourself.
Right.
And you can't really see the situation that it's a two-way thing. And as Ryan said, it only takes, I think, experience to first work out that it's a two-way relationship. So they need you as much as we need them. And actually, in the greatest respect, agents are fantastic and we could not live without them. But we need them. Like, they need us more than we need them. Like, we provide the work for them, So, like, without good actors, agencies wouldn't exist. So I think, getting an agent it's a tough old world, but it prepares you for what it's like to get a job. But relief is the main thing, I'd say.
Do you guys remember your very first professional audition, and how did that turn out?
Yes, I remember mine. The head of our school called in. I think there was 4 boys and 4 girls. We were still in our 3rd year, and he said, "Look, you guys have been picked to audition for the new West End production of Hair. The Broadway cast are coming over, and they're looking for 2 swings, somebody to cover Claude as well, and I think they're looking for 2 boy swings, 2 girl swings, and then the Broadway cast were coming over." Well, you can imagine it was just like the best news ever. That was my first professional audition. Oh my God. I don't think I've ever been so scared in my entire life.
Where was it at Pineapple? No,
I can't remember. I don't know where it was. I just remember being very, very nervous. Very nervous. I think I got through 4 rounds. My friend, actually, Ollie, who's no longer in the business, Ollie Air, fantastic guy. He actually got the job.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing. Straight out of 3rd year, went to Broadway and everything with it. But yeah, that was my first audition. Oh my God, I'm so scared. It can't have been very good. I'm gonna put this on record now. It can't have been very good.
Do you remember what you did for it?
We had material, so I sung Manchester, England, and I think we sung like a chorus of Aquarius or something like that. It was something else, but yeah.
What was your first audition like, Tom?
My first audition was for Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah, love
that. It was for the tour, Bill Kenwright, and I think I was within a week of signing with my agent. It was really fast, and like JCS is one of my favorite shows on paper. Absolutely love it. Love the music. I think it's one of the best things he's written.
I agree.
I was actually in for First Cover Simon, right?
Wow.
So like the first, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is great. I'd obviously knew the music, I knew the songs. I actually wasn't scared at all. I was actually really ready. It was my comfort zone,
right?
And I wanted it so bad. Long story short, I got through. I think it was 3 rounds. Got to the final. I remember being in Bill Kenwright's office because he invites you to his office. Like, I can't disclose exactly what it's like, but it's like exactly how you imagine a long office with a desk at the end, and it feels like it's like 400 meters long. It's probably only about 4 meters long, but it felt huge. And I had a great audition. I didn't get it. They gave it to someone else. I actually gave it to a friend of mine. And the feedback was that they just decided to go in a different direction, which we all know that phrase. But that was my first audition. How did it feel? That was actually great. It was a great one for me because it was a real. It was in my comfort zone. I knew the music. I knew what I needed to do, and I wasn't disappointed actually because I didn't expect anything at that stage. I wanted it, but I didn't expect it because I just entered the industry. I was just in 3rd year. So that was mine.
Did it take a while before you guys got used to like the no's, the rejection? Like, did it take a while, or did were you always like expecting to get through to the final and then
It's hard to remember. It was quite a while ago. It's honestly hard to remember. I think I was pretty lucky because I think it was my second or third audition that I ended up getting my first job. So
Okay.
the kind of I've had lots and lots and lots of no's. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I've got every job I've booked. I definitely haven't. But I was quite lucky in how quickly I got my first job.
What was your first job?
Phantom of the Opera. Yeah.
Oh,
I was a swing and Phantom of the Opera back in 2009, 2010. And I had like 2 or 3 small understudy parts as well. So the kind of the body of no's came afterwards, if that makes sense. And yeah, you do get used to them. You get used to them pretty quickly. And for me personally, I've got quite a thick skin. For me, it was quite a quick process. I was like, cool, this is part of the business. You kind of need the quicker you get on board with that and realize that it's not personal, the better you will be, and the easier this career will be to navigate for you. If you think that if you constantly kind of micro analyze, what did I do this, and a lot of the time you were absolutely great, but they just a different face fit. They just wanted the other guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can cripple yourself kind of wondering why why was it this? Was it the shirt I wore? Was it the shoes that I wore? Did I kind of cracked a little bit? Or did I change a word? And that is just, for me, I'm quite lucky. I'm not a big thinker, but that kind of, we'll call it like that kind of process of thinking can be crippling and really unhelpful. I'm kind of lucky that just in my DNA, I'm not a worrier.
Yeah.
So yeah, in answer to your question, I got kind of used to the no's fairly quickly.
Right. What was your first job, Tom? And how?
So I think I definitely had a few no's straight out of college, or actually in third year. It was in third year. But I was expecting that. I wasn't expecting anything different, so I wasn't disappointed. You know, as I said, like, I'm from a small town in South Wales. Like, I felt like part of my brain is like I'd already achieved. You know, I'd gone to London, I'd gone to a top drama school, I'd had a great time, and now I had an agent and I was auditioning for these shows that I loved. For me, like, at that time in my life, obviously I wanted to book the jobs, but I wasn't disappointed that I didn't get them. Because I understood that if I wanted to achieve anything, I needed to work hard at it, and I needed to work hard at it consistently. I wasn't one of these people who was expecting it to be on a plate. You know, I wasn't expecting that. But in the same vein, I didn't have to wait too long for the first yes. And I do feel like that first yes is really important. Yeah. In whatever capacity it is, whatever job it is, just when you get that gratification, just like when you get the agent wanting you, it's that instant, like,
it's an affirmation. Like,
it is. A pat on the back, totally. Because you only know, obviously the people who are closest to you know how hard you've worked, but you only know how hard you've worked to get to that point. And when those things happen, there's no feeling like it, because all of those, like, extra hours or lessons or thinking time or prep time, instantly is worth it. So my first job was, I mean, I did get into Only Men Allowed in Wales, and that was performing, but it wasn't a musical job. So I was lucky to do that during my third year, which introduced me into the industry in a really great way. But my first professional acting job was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And again, swings and roundabouts, you know, that was Bill Kenwright as well. They asked me to come back in from Jesus Christ Superstar. Didn't get that one, but they called me back in for Joseph, and I got that part. So the feeling when I got that was, I'll always forget it. I'll always remember it. I was teaching at the time. I was teaching a student in a church in London, can't remember where. And I remember looking down at my emails because it pinged, which it definitely should have been on airplane mode during the lesson. And it just said something along the lines of, from my agent, offer.
Nice.
So yeah, that was my first job. I had the best time. I was first cover Joseph. Again, dream part. Dream show. It was a show that everyone's done it in school, but I did it in school when I was in year 7. And a really strange story that I'm going to throw in really quickly is obviously Donny Osmond was, I think, not the original, but he certainly did Joseph for a long time. He did the film
Yeah.
Joseph in Untitled Dreamcoat. Donny Osmond has roots that stem back to Merthyr Tydfil, the town that I'm from.
No.
And it goes further than that. When we did our production of Joseph in year 7, I was playing Joseph. Donny Osmond was doing a tour of his ancestry in South Wales, and he visited our school and came to see us. And he was on TV, and it was all sorts. You can imagine the mums. The mums were going crazy because obviously it's their generation of pop. So yeah, strange story there.
It's like full circle. You actually got to go on as Joseph. It's like
I know, man. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's cool.
I'm sure somewhere right now, Donny Osmond is telling that exact same story.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Was there anything that you wish drama school had prepared you for? I mean, after all of these years, you guys have been putting in the hard work professionally. Was there anything that you wish drama school had taught you that you would use now? Yeah. What is it?
Yes. I wish they told us how to do tax and things.
Ah, yes.
That's it.
That's it. I mean, I'd agree. We did have a tax talk by the lovely, lovely Ian Good. So shout out to you, Ian. You did give us a tax talk, but I'll be honest, it was one lesson. It was quite quick.
Yeah.
I don't really think I was paying that much attention.
Yeah.
If you get a tax talk, listen to the people that are telling you everything. It's super important. That was something we had to learn on the job as we go. Oh, even the word tax sends shivers up my spine, even to this day. Yeah.
What do you feel was your big break? Like, so you're putting in the work. You swung for Joseph, which is a massive role already out of drama school. You were swinging for Phantom, which is a big show. But I'm sure you put in other shows in. But what was the moment where you felt, oh, this could be my big break, or the transition from being an ensemble or a swing or a cover into actual leading roles?
Mine came kind of late, I suppose. I spent 6 or 7 years kind of in and around the West End. Did a #1 UK tour in Oliver, and I was doing a lot of understudies. I was first cover Bill Sykes on the Oliver tour, and I was part of the ensemble, which I absolutely loved. And
you grew some hair for this role as well.
Yeah, that is me as the bishop.
Lovely hair.
Yeah, that is not my real hair. Opposite Peter Lockyer there. That was the 30th anniversary cast of Les Mis. And actually, just after this job, I would probably say is my kind of, we'll call it a big break, my kind of transition into like playing leads and playing parts. And I did the 20th anniversary cast of Rent. Yeah, there we go. That's me. The amazing, wonderful director Bruce Guthrie, he cast me in Rent. I believe I'm one of the first and only white Collinses ever, actually. Super cool job. Honestly, to date, my favorite job. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Wonderful, wonderful people, wonderful crew, backstage, everybody. I absolutely love that show. And I say that was kind of my big break, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I was in 2016 maybe.
And that was before, was Rent right before Saigon, or?
Yeah, right before, yeah.
Before you started playing John.
Yeah, man. Again, a role I never thought I'd get to play. A dream role in a dream show in a huge. I was really lucky. I'd worked for Cameron McIntosh's companies quite a lot of time before that. Quite a long time before that, I'd done Phantom of the Opera, Oliver. I went back into Phantom. Then I was in Les Mis. Being a kind of trusty understudy for them, being what I hope a solid member of the ensemble. In Les Mis, I understudied Thénardier, like fantastic roles to play. But there's nothing like getting a part that is yours and getting to kind of put your stamp on something.
To really create it from scratch.
Yeah, and obviously there's been some amazing actors come before me that have done both of those roles that I just spoke about in Tom Collins and in John in Saigon. kind of put my take on that. Yeah, it was honestly a dream come true. And I was lucky to do those shows literally back to back. I was actually, when me and Tom first started rehearsals for the UK / like international tour of Saigon, I was still performing in I was still performing in Rent of an evening. So I was literally coming down, finishing Rent at like 10:30 at night, rushing home, trying to get some sleep, waking up, getting on a train wherever I was in the country to London, and then doing a full day of rehearsals and leaving at about 3 p.m, getting a train back to wherever, and then performing. I did that for 4 weeks. So I was, crazy times.
What was your big break, Tom?
I think for me, it was when I got asked to do a new show called The Dreamers, which is in Abbey Road Studios.
Is this the one? I think it's the one.
Yeah, that's it. And I just done Miss Saigon with director JP, that we've all worked with, amazing director, and a lovely guy as well, really loyal and knowledgeable and helpful in terms of just like transitioning through the industry. And he called me to ask whether I'd be interested in doing this.
Nice.
To which I obviously said yes, because again, in the industry, that doesn't happen very often either.
No.
You don't. You have to go through processes where you're the one who wants it, and it's up to them whether they want to do it. So at that stage, it was just a workshop actually, and he asked me if I'd be interested in doing it, and I was like, yeah, of course. It was about World War I. It was something that really suited my castability. Playing a soldier, obviously, I'd just done Miss Saigon, completely different sort of era and style, but it was something that I knew that I could get my teeth stuck into. I mean, then that snowballed, and then they eventually decided to put production on the world premiere inside Abbey Road Studios, and they actually then gave me the part, one of the leading parts, Jack Hastings. It was sort of like the villain of it all, but actually turned out to be the hero in the end. So it was a huge journey to make, based on a true story. And they built a theatre inside Abbey Road Studios, inside Studio 2, where the Beatles, you take that, Sting, everyone you can imagine has recorded their most famous albums in there. And, they had to build us dressing rooms. They had to build us a whole sound system, a lights rig. And that for me, probably from the phone call with JP to the after party inside Abbey Road Studios, inside Studio 2, with a glass of red wine or whatever it was, I remember thinking like this is probably my big break, because it creatively for me, it was definitely a shift.
Right.
Probably because it was the first time where I not only had a part of my own to have, but it was originating something. It was creating something for the first time. So the amount of ownership I had was huge. I literally could, we had discussions about what was appropriate and not. And that's something that I aspired to do, definitely, when I was in college.
I think that's like the ultimate dream, to be part of a brand new material wherein you originate a character or a role that's based on how you look, how you sound, how you and just you. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. That was, I think, the shift for me. And I'd love to do things like that again. And of course, there's parts and shows I want to do, but for me, if we're talking about a shift of like where I felt like I went into a different gear, it was then.
Okay, some practical questions now. How often do you change your audition book? There's this whole thing about legit songs, contemporary songs, pop songs. How do you know what to come in with, especially if it's a sing your own material, if you're not given material ahead of time? Like just some practical advice right now.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a great question. And again, it's not a new question to me. I've had this question a lot. I think, especially for anybody that's trying to get into the industry, the sooner that you can get a body of work together that suits your voice, the better. Like the sooner you can get on top of this, whether it's 4 songs, 8 songs, 12 songs, however many it is that you think covers enough bases. If you're if you're going into musical theatre, you know the different genres of music
Mm.
and musicals and kind of different players with music, whatever it is that you might ask to audition for. So I think you just need to get on top of that as soon as you can. But I think within that, you need to always be singing something that is right for you. Like, I know a lot of actors and actresses still that have been in the business 10, 12, 15 years, and they're learning a new song every audition. And for me, I see that, and again, this is only personal opinion, but I see that as counterproductive if you're constantly learning a new song.
Because you're not really judged on how new the song is, are you? You're I mean, it can be an old, standard, but then if they see something new in how you sing it in the room, then it breaks through.
Yeah, and normally within the first 30 seconds, minute, they've made up their mind. They're like, yeah, they're literally like this. Yeah, he'd be good. Let's call him back. And they've made up their mind, and you've spent 5-6 days. I don't know, or if you've got it really late, you've spent all of last night riddled with worry, like learning this new song. And more than likely, you could have went in with a song that you knew already, and they'd have been like, right, yeah, great, terrible song choice, but yeah, he's got a great voice. We'll give him.
What is your go-to, Ryan? What is for both of you, what is your go-to legit and contemporary song in the room?
Oh my God, yeah, Tom, you go.
My go-to legit song would be Till I Hear You Sing or Anthem from Chess. And to be honest, they've been that way since first year in college.
Really?
Yeah, since 2012.
That's amazing. Says a lot. Book you so many jobs.
Well, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, mine, weirdly, Anthem's one of mine. And the other one would be Soliloquy. I don't sing all 8 minutes for the audition, but the Soliloquy and Carousel, Billy Bigelow's, normally the last part of that.
Yeah.
Those would be mine.
For contemporary, I'm actually not going to say the name of it, but I'm going to say explain it, because it's a song that is, I'll just tell you what it is. It's called She's So High by Kurt Nielsen. I heard it when I was really young. My dad, I think, sent it to me as a song that he heard on the radio. And I thought, well, if I change the key of that and put it into a key that like hits like a good range for me, then that's going to literally tick boxes from a casting perspective. And that's what it's done for me. I've literally changed the key. I wrote an arrangement on the piano, really basic, that is like a pop rock thing. And I use that as my go-to contemporary because it's very unknown, but there isn't a song I could pick that could show that part of my voice off better. And that's what me and Ryan talk about quite a lot at MT Virtual, to be honest, is that, one person might come to us and say, my go-to song is Anthem. And we might go, perfect, that's great, because we've heard you do 5 or 6 other legit songs and it doesn't show you off as well as Anthem, so you should go in and do Anthem. And if they hear 25,000 anthems this year, then yours is going to be up there with the best, because this is your best. But then if someone comes to us with Anthem from Chess and we go, actually, they'd sing something better, they'd show this part of their voice better with something else, we'll give them something else. So I think for me, should you be learning new songs overnight? No, I don't think that. For me, like, all you're going to be thinking about is trying to remember. And I with the greatest respect to casting directors across the board, their job is hard. Their job is really difficult, and they've got to sit there all day. They can have the best interest in the world, but it's hard to differentiate 50, 60 people a day, and all at the first round. My personal opinion is that, do they fit the bill in any capacity? Are they suitable? And actually, I don't think it matters too much what you sing, as long as it's within the realms, as you said, as long as you're not taking legit for a contemporary and a contemporary for legit. I think you can have a staple 5, 6 songs that you can use and adapt, because don't forget, you can sing songs in different ways as well. It's not like you have to sing it in the same way. So I think you can have your go-to songs that you sing your best, and then of course explore the whole range of other stuff, because you need to have knowledge and other things just in case they do ask for something specific.
Right.
I think that's solid advice. I concur fully.
Yeah, completely.
Yes.
Do you have any idea what they're writing what the panel is writing in those 30 seconds or 1 minute that they're
No.
listening to
Their
you?
shopping list?
Yeah, no.
Because they're like, all of a sudden they're like writing in that room. And it's
Honestly, I don't know. There's no way you can find out.
can't.
So put it out of your head. That would be my advice. You've
I
got
agree.
no idea. Just
I
put it
agree.
out of your head.
Like, you know, I've never cast anything professionally, but I have cast children's shows. I've cast where I've been teaching and stuff. And I've also run audition masterclasses where you do cast it, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm watching someone who I think is amazing. I want to give them all my time, but I'm writing stuff and I couldn't remember what I'm writing. I'm writing stuff to help my process. So I think it goes on what Ryan said, is that you cannot start to think about what they're writing, because it could be relevant, it could be not relevant, it could be good, it could be bad. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
And those little distractions are the worst right in that moment when you're in the room. I mean, you don't want to be thinking about anything else other than just being in the moment.
Yeah, and you can't do anything about them. It's not serving you. It's not doing anything for you, trying to worry about them. Put them to the back of your mind. Concentrate on being present, doing your audition. You've already put the work in. Just put it out there.
What was the weirdest and most surprising, not necessarily weird in a bad way, but like strangest or most surprising feedback that you got after an audition? Do you remember?
Ooh, strangest. I haven't got strange feedback, but I have quite a funny story. So I just come out of Phantom. I just did my first year of Phantom. I'd literally, I think were we in rehearsals? We might have been in rehearsals I did the 25th anniversary at the Royal Albert Hall of Phantom of the Opera as well. Right. And there was it must have been before this. Correct me, it must have been before this. So I was still in my first year of Phantom and I was auditioning for the tour. Basically, I said I didn't want to stay on in the West End and I was auditioning for lots of other things. And then there was just like, look, the tour's going out as well. It's for Cameron's. Do you want to audition again? And I was just like, yeah, great. A couple of weeks earlier, I tried to get an audition for Oliver, but they said, look, they don't think there's anything in it for you for the up-and-coming tour of Oliver. So, but it's the same casting team, and I was disappointed. I'm not going to pretend I wasn't. And I went in and I auditioned for the tour of Phantom, which was a little strange because I was doing the job overnight in the West End.
Right.
So obviously I put no effort in. I knew this stuff inside out, backwards, and I finished doing my material again, what I did every night, and I remember Lawrence Connor, the director, kind of looked at me and he was like, why have we not seen you for Oliver? And I won't say who it is, but I basically just pointed at someone who was sat behind him in the room, and I was like, because he said there was nothing in it for me, and he just kind of was like, he was like, yeah, you'll get the material today, so look at it, and we'll see you next week.
Wow, that's funny. That's
and I got the job. I got first cover Bill Sykes as well. So I was like, yeah, that's my funny story. I don't even think I answered your question, but
no, it's perfect.
I don't know if I've got any of those. You know, I don't know if I've got any weird feedbacks. I've had all the feedbacks that you can imagine. They're not quite right, too tall, too short, all those sort of things. You know, which are sadly part and parcel of being in this industry.
Right. And things that you can't control as well. Things that you can't change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
You know what's a weird one as well? What's a weird one? Like when sometimes you're 7-8 rounds in and they say, oh, you don't quite look right. You don't quite look right with the other boys, or you don't quite, and I was like, I've looked this way for the last 8 weeks when I've been auditioning. Why do I now not look right? Have I changed?
Yeah. But sometimes I think behind the table, they want you to fit. They're trying.
Of course they do.
They really want you to be successful.
Of course they do. They always want you to be good. And I think that is something we always tell people, like, you need to have that thought beaming from you. You need to, because anxiety and worry can be such a crippling thing for lots of performers. and you need to have that ringing in your ears.
Right.
They want me to be good, because weirdly, there's this like little saboteur that people have, that people think, oh no, they want me to be bad. Like, what are they writing? Why was he on his phone? And all of a sudden, all of that negativity can creep in. You just need to keep in. They want to cast me. They want me to fit the brief, and they want me to be good.
Right.
And I think that's a really useful tool.
100%.
Funny. The funny feedback I got was, it's just strange. Nothing about the singing. Because you go into a singing audition and you want to look the best, right? You're dressing up and all of that. And then my agent gets to me and she says, "Oh, for the recall, they want to see if you can wear something that shows your tattoos more." And I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting." Because as an actor, you're told I have ink on my body, but I've always been told to keep it in places where it's not easily seen, so that it broadens your castability. But then it's funny how my agent was like, "Oh yeah, the casting team wants to see as much of your tattoos as possible, but they're all in places that are hidden." So I'm like, "How do I do that?"
Cutting up your t-shirts.
I was like, "All right, that's interesting." Okay, so we're moving on to the new normal. Loads of like Zoom meetings and online exchanges, and you guys with Musical Theater Virtual are launching. Well, you guys have launched already, but then you're really pushing this new method of bespoke workshops, West End workshops that people could really participate in, which I think is absolutely fantastic. We're going to roll in a trailer just so that people who are watching right now can see what MT Virtual is all about.
Cue trailer.
In a bit.
Go, 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 go.
Go, 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 go.
Yeah,
There we go.
Ryan, sing.
Yeah.
Stuck inside, balancing work and homeschooling, interested in musical theatre? Imagine you could take part in a West End workshop from your very own living room. Now imagine you could choose any show that you want, and you'd work with an artist from that show, and you still haven't left your own living room. Now imagine you could instantly download that workshop to your computer, and you could do it wherever you want and as many times as you want.
As well as West End workshops, MT Virtual connects you to our intuitive online platform offering
bespoke private tuition, online masterclasses, audition techniques, singing lessons, acting through song, on the school audition program achieving 100% success rate.
Whether you want to be marching on the barricades at Les Mis,
divorced or beheaded in 6,
considering yourself lucky in Oliver, dancing through life in Wicked,
even just being in the room where it happens,
we at MT Virtual have you covered.
Currently revolutionising learning of musical theatre with state schools, academies and individuals all over the UK. To book your virtual workshop, one-to-one session or masterclass, visit our website at musicaltheatrevirtual.com.
All right. Look at that trailer. It's badass. I want to march in the barricades of Les Mis. In the room where it happens. All right. So tell us all about MT Virtual. Where is it at right now? What are you guys doing? Go ahead. The floor is yours.
So at the moment, we are teaching one-to-one private tuition with all sorts of people from all sorts of backgrounds. And we're also offering downloadable virtual West End workshops that you can do at home whenever you want and as many times as you want. The bulk of our work has been with prospective drama school students, so maybe people who are auditioning now or looking to audition next year. That's sort of like the reason why we did it. If you ask us why we did it, we want to be able to provide that platform. We saw that gap in the market that, Ryan and I are both from, let's put it bluntly, lower social background locations of the UK, right? So when I was auditioning for drama school, as I said earlier, I sort of fell into it. And I fell into it because I was lucky that one or two influential people told me about it. But had I not bumped into those people, I wouldn't have known anything about it. And actually, even when I was auditioning, I didn't have the answers. I didn't have anywhere to go to ask the answers or help with my audition or know what it was like or know what they're after, know what it's the whole process is going to be like. So from a personal perspective, that's why Ryan and I want to do this. We want to be able to provide that platform. So that's what we get out of it. We want to be able to answer those questions and facilitate that process from wherever they are, if they want to be in performance, wherever that might be. Now, that's the bulk of our work, and Ryan can talk about this in a little bit as well, but we've also been working with other people. We've been pleasantly surprised. I'll hand it over to Ryan because he can talk about this.
Yeah, man. It's as Tom said, we've been working with like people that are trying to get into drama school, and that is probably 78% of the people that we've been teaching. But what's been so lovely, actually, since we've kind of launched the website, we've got, we've been kind of all over our socials. We have teachers, people to do with business, people from so many different countries that have such diverse group of jobs. And, sometimes they're just like, look, guys, I really love what you do. Like, and they just want to be better singers. And it's just like, so now we've got people kind of from all over that we're taking on these journeys, and it's just been the best few months so far. It's honestly been absolutely brilliant. So as you say, we've kind of had the whole getting kids from 16, 17, 18 that are looking to become young professionals or looking to kind of get into drama schools.
Right.
And then we've just got people that are just like, look, I've been in my kind of local choir. I've always wanted to really kind of find my voice and really fine tune my technique. And we're teaching those guys as well. And it's been brilliant, man. It's been such a cool kind of few months.
And everything is online. So even the bespoke sessions are online. Like this, it would be similar to this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So walk me through like an example workshop of like if I enrolled in the bespoke session, how many sessions would that be, and how does it work?
So we're currently offering different bundles at the moment. So we're offering block of 10 sessions, block of 6 sessions, block of 4 sessions, or you can have a one-off to see what we're all about. To be honest, the bulk of our students have enrolled for 10 or 20 lessons. Those are new students, but a lot of our students were existing before we launched MT Virtual, and we've simply just converted them into our new way of working. As I said, like I've been teaching online in between jobs for about 5 years now. Ryan's been doing something similar with, people back from home, people who we wanted to help on a personal basis, not from a business perspective at all. Right. But we've just sort of scaled that up, basically. We've scaled that up. We've introduced all those people in. We've put them into groups as well, which again is such an amazing thing, because we've got people who I've been teaching for 2-3 years who are just about now getting to that point where they're auditioning. And now we're mixing them with people from Germany, people from Italy, people from Spain, who are simply interested in the same thing. They want to be better performers, and they're in the same class, and it's incredible. It's awesome.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think as well, like one of the probably more unique things about MT Virtual is obviously me and Tom are great mates. We've been mates for a number of years, and we've managed to kind of align and amalgamate kind of everything that we've learned, all Tom's experiences, all my experiences, the good and the bad, and kind of focus that all into like our way of teaching. So especially with our new students now, like you get 2 teachers, you get me and you get Tom. So if you get 20 lessons, you'll get 10 with me and you'll get 10 with Tom. And I just think it's kind of a unique way of learning. So you're kind of getting 2 for the price of 1 kind of thing, and you're not just getting one person's perspective. You're getting another.
From that as well. To go on from that is that I think, when I was auditioning, or if I was 17, 18, or even if I wasn't, if I was in management or if I was in education and I wanted to learn how to perform better, if I was in that situation, I would love to have the opportunity to just work with current professionals. And that's not tooting our own trumpets at all. Like, we don't pretend to know everything. In fact, that's a huge part of what we do. We are still learning as well. And we're still discovering how we can help as many people as possible in the best way for that person. But what's great about us is that we're also still actors. I know there's not much at the moment, but the next job that we get, or one of us gets, or both of us gets, we'll draw on that too. So we'll use that experience into our students. And, that the amalgamation of the 2 things of teaching experience, but also current industry experience, means that we can also draw upon friends and colleagues like yourself to bring in and add more insight into this platform that we want to create.
Right. So what kind of workshops, what are the variety of workshops that do you guys have in store for people who want to sign up? Are these dance workshops, acting workshops, storytelling, acting through song?
Yeah, at the minute, we've kind of had they're on a bespoke level. So at first what we did, we kind of had them on an order basis. So if you wanted a Wicked workshop, we'd get you a Wicked workshop. If you wanted a Billy Elliot workshop, we would get you a Billy Elliot workshop. Nice. And then through that, we now have a catalogue of kind of musicals to draw from. I would say the kind of large majority of them are dance based, but we've currently got a great friend of mine, Emma Kingston, like fantastic performer. She's currently just about to do a vocal workshop for us.
Nice.
So we're kind of spreading our wings. We're kind of
I
like
think
trying
as
to listen.
well, yeah, spreading the wings, and I think the sky's the limit. You know, we've been also evolving very quickly during this time. You know, we're fine to say that when we set out on this journey, we set a plan that we have definitely tailored and changed.
Right.
And we're evolving, and we're trying to serve what people want and what people need from us or from people like us. So at the moment, a bulk of our work is one-to-one tuition, but also the downloadable workshops. But we're looking into live classes as well.
Nice.
And beyond that, the thing that we've kept quiet up until now that we are going to start releasing in a few weeks, months' time, is specifically drama school audition coaching. So that's more of a coaching service where you get 2 lessons a week, you get a check-in with one of us, we give you advice for nutrition, for physical workouts, the whole package that, again, we wish we had. Because if someone told me when I was 17, you know, maybe you should think about going to the gym, maybe you should think about just doing some yoga to strengthen or to lengthen, or maybe do some meditation because you're getting really stressy about the simplest of things and that's not going to help in the audition room. That whole process is what we are offering to our sort of inside students at the moment, but we're hoping, just like everything else, we want to be able to offer that to anyone who wants it.
I mean, being an actor, like especially in musical theater, is such a skill. It's like being an athlete, and you need that personal coach. You need that personal trainer.
Yeah, I wish I had it.
You know what I mean? It's like a personal trainer for the skill that you want to get good at.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I go to my coach, my training coach, and I say, I feel like shit. I ate like shit today. And he just, you know, he gives me that motivation to say, okay, go back to your calories, go back to your deficit, do this in the gym. You need that kind of coach for musical theater as well to keep getting
totally.
Yeah.
And as you say, all 3 of us here still have those coaches in our lives, whether it's for something physical, whether it's all of us have vocal coaches. So we're all still however many years into this business, and we are all still learning because you never stop that.
Right.
But I think, you know, what we're trying to do is kind of drawing on all of our experience and just saying, at the point of going into drama school, which getting into drama school is almost as competitive as being an actor and trying to get a top job.
Extremely.
Like there is thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of like young kids that are full of talent that are trying to get into drama school. So we're just trying to give them that little leg up that I wish I'd have had. You know, obviously we all managed it, but I was just like, that'd be just made it so much easier to have actual real-time insight into like what colleges are looking for, what the industry is looking for right now. But yeah, I think having those people in your life that, as you say, the coaches that you can call upon is invaluable. I still have a vocal coach now that I go to. Do you know what I mean? I will always, as long as I'm an actor, I will always have that.
Yeah. Excellent. That's so exciting. Okay, great. Okay, so and hopefully after this you have clients and students from the other side of the world, from the Philippines.
Yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be so good.
Yeah.
Lining up, right?
I mean, we don't have anybody from the Philippines at the minute. That's a country we definitely haven't got.
And that's the thing with this whole thing. I mean, it opens up your audience right now. I mean, it's bittersweet because we're all stuck in our homes, locked down. And the industry is, we don't know when the shows are opening again. But it's a great time to start preparing and to staying on top of your game.
Yeah.
And really.
But also, to add into there, Joaquin, is that, you know, all auditions for drama school have turned online as well. Right?
Yeah.
So a lot of students that I was teaching online anyway, because they're from Wales or they're from Scotland, you know, they're too far to travel on a weekly basis. Suddenly, all of that practice that we'd been doing on a weekly basis came in hand because they had to then do that live for Guildford School of Acting, for Arts Ed, for Mount View, which is, you know, 6 months ago, we would have said, nah, that's never going to happen. But it has happened. And there's a chance that, you know, it might still happen until 2021. So I think the whole online thing is really, really useful. Yeah.
My final audition for drama school recently was all via Zoom. And for that, it was all self-tapes and, you know, submissions, which is, I think, again, unprecedented. They didn't really usually do that because they want to see you in the room. The very first audition I had was in the venue. in the school, but then after that, everything went online. And it's just, it's great. It's great now that it's kind of meeting. And I mean, what you guys are doing will be perfectly adapted to what's actually happening in the industry.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
We're well over our time, and we were supposed to do 1 hour, and we're going an hour.
Flew by. It's literally flew by. It went so quickly.
It's so good. I'm so glad that you guys. I got to talk to you guys, and this is the first episode of Pick Your Brain. And hopefully next week, I'm just getting the confirmation, but I don't want to announce him yet. But then next week, I got a very special guest as well. Thank you guys. I learned so much from you guys, and
thank you.
For having us.
Anything else you got? Oh, why don't we your social media for Musical Theater Virtual? How do we contact you? Let me just put that on a banner.
Yeah, it's musicaltheatrevirtual.com if you want to find our website. Our Instagram is Musical Theater Virtual. Twitter is MT Virtual. And Facebook is Musical Theater Virtual. If you type in Musical Theater Virtual, you can't go wrong. We've also shared this on our Facebook, I believe. So anyone who's seen this will hopefully then be able to.
Oh,
yeah, that's great. Just with the V for the C, then we're good.
Sorry.
Probably the best way to contact us is on social media, to be honest, because we've got all the links on there to go to our website and to go to our discovery form that we're finding is a really great way of getting people into our system at the moment really efficiently, because we understand exactly what they want from us before we even talk to them. So yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah, cool. So many other things to ask, but I don't want to take too much of your time. Thank you guys.
We'll do season 2.
So everything is going to go, just so that the people are watching, this is, yes, live right now, but then it's going to come up into a little edit, and everything will be intact. All of my questions and all of Ryan and Tom's answers will be intact, with a little bit more finesse in the final video on YouTube, my YouTube channel. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Oh, there you go. Oh,
okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, let's give this a go. So I would say trying to learn in different ways. Make sure that we try and learn things in different ways. So you can learn lines in terms of cards, like color cards. Maybe you write down one sentence on one, put it down, try and remember it. Remember that color. Is that red? Okay, red. What was that first word? Red. Was it the ball? Okay, that's number 1. Done number red. Let's do red, then let's go to the next color, yellow. So you could do it that way. Or you could do it audibly. Like sometimes you can just record the lines in your ears, try and repeat it. I think there's so many different ways to learn lines. And I'm actually awful at learning lines. I need time. Whereas some of my best friends don't need time at all. They've got it. But in order for me to know it and be able to connect to it, I need time. I can't do it last minute. I have to do it in a process. So I've used loads of different ways how to do it, and I'd recommend trying them all. But the main thing is repetition. There's huge research also into turning things into a song. So even if it's like lyrics, like a monologue or text, turn it into a song, because music has a different side of the brain or something. Like there's some amazing stories where 85-year-olds with Alzheimer's can't remember their name, can't remember their family's names, but they can remember a song that they first danced to. When they play it, they go back and they start remembering everything.
Beautiful.
So there's huge things, and I don't want to say this will help this, because we don't know, but I would say there are so many different ways you can try, at least, to just maybe you learn half of it in that way and then the other half in a different way. Right. I hope that's helped. I hope that's helpful.
This is another question. This is very practical. What's your self-tape situation looking like at home? What are your gear? I mean, you guys, I know Tom has the full mic, condenser mic and all of that, but then what kind of gear do you guys have? What's your kit looking like?
Mine, I'll be honest, is fairly basic. I'll actually just turn you around and quickly show you. So I've got my trusty light, which is on a tripod.
Gorgeous.
That I normally put my phone in, so it just stick there. And yeah, honestly, that is just far. I'm really bad. I'm probably the wrong person to ask this question to. Joaquin, Joaquin's helped me out with many a self-tape.
Yeah, I was helping Ryan out with his self-tapes back in Saigon. So
he knows how rubbish I am. But one thing I would probably, if I was to give a little tip, just so I do say something along the lines, of this question would be few tips. Stand in front of something plain. Get yourself a nice plain white wall. I know casting directors and directors that have said, if I see a light switch, I will literally turn it off. I'll literally turn it off. Yeah. Because they just said, I'm already distracted. I'm already looking at that light switch. We've all got a nice plain wall in front of our house. If we haven't, get yourself a sheet, iron that sheet and hang it up somewhere. Get yourself some good lighting. Don't look down the lens. And just be you. They would be my 4 top tips. I haven't answered your question on kit because, quite frankly,
that's good. It's fine.
I'm really rubbish.
In terms of equipment, I can't turn you around because I'm on a very delicate table here, and I wouldn't want the whole thing to fall apart. But I've got an identical ring light to what Ryan's got.
I need a ring light. You know, look at mine. This is absolutely rubbish.
Honestly, mate, they're amazing. They're quite reasonably priced as well. I'd recommend getting one from Amazon. They're really good.
A little tripod on.
Yeah.
Nice.
Put your phone in here. These are really handy. They're not. I think it cost me like 30, 40 pounds from Amazon.
Oh, nice.
It's good.
Yeah. And equipment. Yes. I mean, there's a story here as well, and which is thankful to COVID. I bought myself recording equipment in 2017. No, 2018, Christmas time. And the reason I bought it is because I always wanted to have it. I always wanted to have a home studio sort of feel. Like, I'm a musician myself. I love to play, but I wanted to know how to record. I wanted to know how easy or difficult that was and what the process is. Not really for an end goal to release anything, just to understand. And I bought all those expensive equipment. It wasn't that expensive. I just did loads of research into what I needed. And I used it on Christmas Day, the day I got it, with my family. I tried it out, and it was loads of fun. And then it stayed in a box for 2 years.
No way. The whole mics, the audio interface, everything.
Yeah, everything. And tell the truth, I don't know why that is. You know how it is. Sometimes you've got the best intentions, but you just don't get round to those things. But what happened at the beginning of lockdown because of COVID, I took them out and I set it up, and I just kept it up. And honestly, I've used it loads. I haven't stopped using it, and I've loved every minute. Is that essential? No, it's absolutely not. But a good self-tape setup, I think, is good. And I think it takes practice to get it right, just as much practice as it would to sing or to play the piano or whatever. I think it takes practice.
Yeah, that I was working on the self-tape top tips for you guys later on, but I'll send it to you guys separately.
Yeah, man. Right, dude, I'm going to have to go. I'm teaching in like 10 minutes.
We're done. We're done. Thank you, Ryan and Tom Hier, Ryan O'Gorman.
Thank you.
Thank you for the first episode. We'll catch you later.
See you soon.
Peace out, man.
Bye-bye.